New Texas laws open a wild west for corporate governance, and that headline from the New York Times tells you almost everything you need to know about what's been happening in the Lone Star State lately. So here's the setup. Elon Musk just scored a $29 billion payday from Tesla, yes, billion with a B, described as a first step in a long-promised compensation package. And a big reason that payday actually happened comes down to where Tesla is now incorporated, Texas. A new state law helped clear the path for Musk's pay package after a Delaware judge had initially blocked it. That's not a coincidence. It's the result of a deliberate, aggressive campaign by Texas to pull corporations away from Delaware, the longtime king of corporate charters. Now, Delaware is a big deal. 2/3 of the Fortune 500 are incorporated there, and franchise taxes make up roughly 30% of the state's entire revenue. But corporate America has grown frustrated with Delaware courts, which have been issuing rulings that executives and boards haven't loved. So Texas saw an opening. Over the past few months, the Texas legislature has passed a series of bills that tilt power away from shareholders and toward executives. Let's walk through what they actually do. First, companies incorporated in Texas can now essentially ban lawsuits from all but their biggest shareholders. A company can pass a bylaw requiring shareholders to own at least 3% of the company before they're even allowed to sue. Almost nobody meets that bar. Tesla moved fast on this, passing exactly that kind of bylaw in May, which helped smooth the way for Musk's compensation. Second, corporations incorporated or headquartered in Texas can now restrict shareholder proposals to only their largest owners, those with at least $1 million in stock or 3% of the company. That's a direct benefit to companies like ExxonMobil, which is headquartered in Texas. Exxon actually sued investor groups last year over shareholder proposals pushing the company to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions. Under this new law, those kinds of proposals become much harder to bring forward. Third, Texas has put serious hurdles in front of proxy advisors, the firms that tell shareholders how to vote on company issues. If a proxy advisor takes environmental, social, or governance factors into account and recommends voting against management, they now have to publicly disclose that they subordinated shareholders' financial interests. Since nearly every shareholder proposal touches on ESG in some way, critics say this effectively blocks proxy advisors from ever siding against management on a shareholder vote. The stated goal, as a University of Texas government professor put it, is to tell boards and executives that Texas is open for business. But not everyone is cheering. Two of the biggest proxy advisory firms, Glass Lewis and Institutional Shareholder Services, have sued Texas, arguing the proxy advisor law violates their First Amendment right to free speech. And legal experts are raising eyebrows at another aspect of these laws: they apply to companies headquartered in Texas, not just those incorporated there. That breaks with a long-standing principle that corporate governance falls under the laws of wherever a company is incorporated. One corporate governance professor called it an attempt to trump other states' laws, and says legal challenges are likely coming. There's also the question of whether Texas is actually winning this race. Nevada is competing hard for the same corporate refugees, with similarly lax governance laws but without the ESG-related restrictions. Andreessen Horowitz recently left Delaware for Nevada, not Texas. One expert put it bluntly: if this race is on, Nevada might actually win, because companies nervous about ESG liability may find Nevada the safer bet. And underneath all of this is a deeper concern from investor advocates. Limiting the tools shareholders use to flag risks, lawsuits, proposals, independent proxy advice, makes investing in American companies less attractive overall. Critics are calling it a regulatory race to the bottom. Texas is betting that fewer guardrails means more corporate arrivals, but the legal battles ahead will determine just how far those new laws actually reach. That's the story of how Texas rewrote its corporate rulebook and set off a fight for America's next great charter state.